How I escaped my 9-to-5 job by wholesaling real estate. Guys, it's Rick Ginn, and today I'm going to walk you through my personal journey on how I got out and really became financially free. And if you stay till the end, I'm going to give you the secret to freeing yourself from a 9-to-5 job so you can take on wholesaling full-time. But before we get into it, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button. You hit that subscribe notification button so you continue to receive the best, most authentic, true information on wholesaling today. So let's talk about it. A lot of you that are watching this video, you're stuck in a 9-to-5 job. And I did this. And honestly, I did this for 12 years. And I got to be honest with you, it took me 12 years to build up the courage to say what I was taught by my parents just didn't work. I went through school, I went through college, I went and got a corporate job. And to be honest with you, I was miserable most of the time. And I hit a plateau. And I made the decision when I had my max amount of bills, I had young children. And honestly, if I can do it, you can easily do it. So what I want to do is walk through you on the process. And I'm going to show you the secrets I use to escape the 9-to-5 hamster wheel, which we call corporate America. So the number one thing you have to address is you have to have an honest accountability of what's going on in your life. And it's best to really just take, what I would do is take a day, take a night, take an evening, or if you're a morning person, and take a pen and pad and be brutally honest with yourself. Are you happy with what you're doing? Are you making progress? Do you feel like you're growing? Do you have the freedom to do the things you want to do with your family? And if the consensus is absolutely no, the first step is to be brutally honest with yourself. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't fix the problem. So if you don't see a future in what you're doing, it's not giving you the growth, it's not giving you the freedom, it's not giving you financial freedom, then make a decision. Because the truth of the matter, if you don't make a decision, you actually made a decision. Now, I'm biased towards wholesaling. You guys know that. But wholesaling is what freed my family to become financially free and, more importantly, to get freedom of your time. So don't just look at finances. I want you to look at freedom of time when you would do a self-evaluation. So once you've decided to be honest with yourself, and that is the real key to start this process, and you've made that decision that the path you're on is just not working, then the really good news is you just got to decide where to go forward. So the next thing you have to do is you have to establish your why. Why do you want to get into wholesaling? And your why's got to be strong, like it's got to be everything. So I'll give you an example. My why is, number one, I wanted more freedom of time with my family, particularly my children and my wife. And my current job was never going to allow me to do it. Guys, I got, I think, 9 days off a year, and that was 12 years committed with the company. And so number one is I wanted freedom on my time. Number two, I wanted to get financial freedom. And number three is I wanted the growth. I wanted to make progress every year. And that was really my why. And so I started with those three things and I wrote down my why. Here's the next step. Take that why and I want you to put it in a place you have to look at it every day. Why? Because your why is what's going to drive you moving forward. If you want to make a massive change, you've got to understand your why. So I wrote it up on my bathroom mirror. I got to look at the dang thing every day. My wife looks at it. My kids look at it. It is my strong commitment. It is one step below getting a tattoo on your bicep to remind you of why you're doing something. So I don't recommend doing that, but write down your why. It's brutally important you see it every day because you're going to have challenging times and you're going to ask yourself, why am I doing this? This is why we call it your why. Your why has to be greater than the current environment you're in, and it is a path you want to head to. So now you have your why. The why is kind of the easy part. I'm just going to be honest with you. And so now what we have to do is you have to make a decision. So earlier I said, if you don't make a decision, you already made a decision. You're going to have to make a decision on you going forward. So if you're like, I'm walking you through my journey, giving you ideas why I do it. I decided the 9-to-5, and my 9-to-5 was like 7-to-7, by the way. I decided that path is not going to work for me any longer. I am not going to continue to pursue it. So I made a decision is I wanted to transition from my 7-to-7 job, which we call 9-to-5, and I wanted to get into wholesaling full time. But I made the decision. I was 100% in. The question was, how was I going to do it? What is my plan? And we're at this point. Now, once you created your why, you have to make a decision. And this is where most people, like, you got to have the guts to make a decision. If you don't want to leave your job and you want the safety, but you want freedom and you want financial stability, unlimited like income, you can't get both. So you're going to have to make a decision. And this is where a lot of you get pulled. Well, my wife, my sister, my brother, my mother, my dad wants me to do this, but this is what I want. Guys, at the end of the day, it's your life. Unfortunately, I learned this the hard way. You have to make a decision what's best for you because you're ultimately going to be responsible for the outcome of your life. Remember, your parents' job is to raise you, keep you safe, and hopefully you pursue your passion and whatever makes you happy. But sometimes these agendas, they conflict. And most of us try to respect our parents and do what they need to do, but understand that you have to make some hard decisions when you get older. If you're on a path and it's not working and you did everything your parents told you to do, move on, and you have to do a self-analysis. Do you want to follow in their footsteps? Now, I need you guys to be respectful about these decisions, but we have to make a decision. Honestly, I think this is the hardest part. I think a lot of people just sit there and they try to do both. Now, I'm going to let you on a little clue. Once you make a decision, you say this path is dead, it doesn't always mean you just quit your job and then jump into wholesaling. Everybody's different. At the time, I had a big mortgage. I thought it was a big mortgage. I had a ton of bills. I had my wife was staying home with the kids because it was important for me to have someone with the kids all the time, especially when they're young. So I decided I was going to do a transition. So I had to come up with a plan. So my plan was 6 to 9 months to get out of my corporate job, to straighten out some of my financial situations and really push myself as a wholesaler and get past that awkward learning curve. And that's it. I came up with a plan, and I want you to understand is you have to come up with a plan. So you have a couple options. Some of you just go, hey, I'm just going all in, and maybe you're 18, 19 living at home with your parents, and that's not a bad plan at all. But if you're like me and you were older and you did it, I was 33, I had to transition into it. And I set up a simple plan. And here's how my plan went. The minute I replaced my 1 year salary, I'm out of that job. Why? Because my corporate job would penalize me doing my wholesaling business. And why would I let a job that doesn't make me happy, doesn't fulfill me, take away from my future for the rest of my life? And that's how I come up with a plan. I set a 9-month plan. I believe I did it in 7.5 months. And that's how I did it. Now, if you're living at home with mom and dad, you have a lot of expenses, you're not married, you don't have kids, you have much more options in my opinion, but you're still going to have to bust your butt. So decide if you're going to do a transition, you're going to go all in, or you're just going to go back to your job. There is no wrong answer. But when you try to do like a combination of 2 or 3, it's impossible to do that. So now you have a plan. Now we got to move forward with the plan. So let's break down the plan a little bit more. So now that you've decided if you're going to do a transition, meaning you're going to keep your job and say you want to give it a few months so you can transition out of it, you got to look at like, what does your schedule look like? Can you do this? Now, the reality is a lot of us have sales jobs. I had a sales job when I did it, and I had nothing but wide open time of blocks in my day. I had an hour or two here and there. I had a wide open lunch schedule, and I went out and did sales calls all day, and then I ran a staff. So I was in a leasing company for cars. So my job was to keep the peace, keep the employees happy, and keep new accounts coming in. So what I would do is take my lunch hour. I would take an extra long time, and I would return everybody's phone calls from whatever marketing I had. So I had 2 breaks during the day where I could check with people. I could just sit in my car, or I could shut an office door, and I could make those phone calls with my private cell phone. Guys, don't do this on your work phone. It's going to get you in trouble. And then what I did is I progressed. And honestly, I was so excited. I loved it. Now, I got off later than most people. And then really from like 6:30 to 9, that's when I really worked. And anything past 9 was my planning for the next day. My marketing schedule. I would watch a lot of videos. I didn't have Flip with Rick back then. Thank God you guys have it now. And that's when you can study, watch recorded live streams, training videos, and go to places like freewholesaling.com. And that's when you learn in the after hours. The reality, guys, is you have 24 hours in a day. The truth of the matter, a 9-to-5 job is people only have like 2.5 hours of productive time. As a wholesaler, you're going to shift your priorities to where you work. This is not an hourly job. It's let me get the job done. That's how I get paid. And in the beginning, you have to put a lot more hours in to get to that point. So understand your time constraints. If you're a single parent and you don't have a lot of time, you're going to have to factor this in. Keep in mind, we all have the same 24 hours a day. You have to prioritize what's most important to you and your family. And you're going to have to make sacrifices to get out of that corporate job to get that true freedom of working in wholesaling so you can have complete freedom financially and time-wise. So the second part of the plan is the financial plan. Now, if you're going to do a transition, is set a target goal, and when you hit it, you have to make a decision to leave your job permanently. And honestly, I couldn't wait for this day to happen. So once I replaced 1 year's salary, and I did that in 7.5 months, I walked into my boss's office and I basically fired myself. Actually, I will never forget the day. It was one of my truly accomplishing moments. And if that drives you, use it, because it is a wonderful feeling. It's all a dream and a fantasy we have. Make it come true. Only you can do it. Now, if you're starting out on your own, alone and say you're living with family members and you're young, then you just go all in. You got really nothing to lose. So as long as your bills are covered, and then you're going to have to do a lot of sweat equity and get it going. And honestly, you like the first 3 to 6 months is you got to be all in. You have to like saturate yourself in wholesaling. There is no replacement. There is no trying. There is no slightly doing. You go all in. And even if you're doing the job transition, you have to have the same mentality. You just have to regulate your schedule on a much stricter basis because you have previous obligations. So the next part moves us on to how you're going to do marketing, because that's the key in getting started. So my recommendation is always pick one marketing channel and try to dominate it. So the best way to get a deal, and you need a great wholesaling deal, is understanding going on MLS and all that stuff. Those are just smoke and mirrors that most coaching programs sell you because it sounds super sexy, and honestly, it's just going to spin your wheels. You need to get and find motivated sellers as fast as possible. The easiest way is go to government lists. Get these government lists and decide how you're going to attack them. You want to learn more how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. We teach you in grave detail on how to do this, both free list and paid list. So once you have that, most of you are going to lean towards cold calling because it's the most efficient way to do it. And some of you don't even have transportation, which is fine. Everybody's got a phone. If you use your cell phone or you use a service to do it, it's completely up to you. A lot of that's going to be dictated by your time and the amount of money you have. But if it's cold calling, if it's texting, driving for dollars is a big one, and then reverse driving for dollars using your government leads. And honestly, it's the fastest way to get a deal. And the most important step is getting your first deal so you can solidify and get your confidence through the roof. But you're going to have to act with that confidence moving forward. The best way to do it is just go through the experience of wholesaling, and every day you're going to get more and more confident. Confidence just doesn't show up on your door when you do your first deal. It is a momentum swing, and you have to keep punching forward. So that leads us to the last phase of this. And I want you guys to understand, when I transitioned from my 9-to-5 job, my weekends were all about wholesaling. Sorry guys, if you are working a job and you want to do wholesaling, you want to do a transition, you're going to have to throw in your weekends. And I'm here to tell you, if you're super young, go all in on your weekends. You got plenty of time to rest down the road. If you can give me 2 years in wholesaling, go all in and just immerse yourself. Go out and talk to as many sellers as possible, write as many contracts as possible, and sell your contracts to cash buyers. This is the journey that every wholesaler has to go through. It doesn't matter if you paid or you done it for free. Everybody has to go through the journey. There is no shortcut. This is the big secret gurus don't tell you, is if you hire someone or not, you have to go through the journey. And honestly, I got 20 years plus in this fight. My son has 6. We can easily guide you through it. freewholesaling.com. And our goal is to get you not only your first deal, but to get you to your first 100 grand. So you have the weekends. You're not going to do what all your friends do. Saturday, you're all in. I want you to see as many sellers as humanly possibly on Saturday. And then Sunday, I want you to use it as a follow-up day. This is everybody you're going to follow up, because a big part of your deals are going to come from the follow-up. You don't have a ton of time to do it during the week. So Saturday, Sunday are your go days. If you cannot make this sacrifice, you cannot complain that you're not happy with your current lifestyle. Go back to your why. Go back to your why. If you want to make the change, you have to stick to your why. So here's the last secret I want you to understand is you have to go on all on your weekends. Your why is there. I promise you, everybody around you is going to try to shake your why. What are you doing that for? That sounds dumb. Why don't you just do this with us? Why don't you go out and party with us this weekend? No, you have to have the conviction. And the conviction is truly what separates wholesalers that get it done and wholesalers that wish about doing it. Conviction means no matter what gets in my way, I'm going to move forward and get this done. Conviction means it's not an option. I'm going through it. I don't care what Joe says. I don't care what Karen says. I don't care what Sally says. I'm moving forward this. And if you can have conviction like that, nothing can rattle you. Listen, I don't care if it takes you a year or two to be successful. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Sprinters in wholesaling always quit. Why? Because it's not sustainable. Imagine running a marathon and you sprinted from mile 1. You are going to be passed by mile 3 or 4 by the entire herd of runners. And I want you to understand that this is a marathon. You've got to keep getting better every day. Stop worrying about the people around you. Do not compare yourself to others. I need you to get 1% better every day. Guys, if you want to get out of the rat race like I did, this is exactly how to do it. And I want you to understand, this wholesaling is not an hourly job. It is a mission to get a job done, and that is it. And if you want to sign up for the mission and you want to change your life and you want to leave that 9-to-5 mess, because guys, I've been there, and it's okay temporarily. It'll make you feel good for a while, but it will bury you, and it's not going to give you the life you want. That's why people are so upset with everything going in life. Guys, take the bull by his horns, go out there and make the change. If you truly want to escape from your 9-to-5 job, just like I did, watch this video again. Guys, if I didn't make that change 20 years ago, I wouldn't be standing in front of this camera talking to you. You guys would never know my son. I took the change change. You know why? Because I just couldn't live like that anymore. To me, it was a prison. And I want you to ultimately get whatever you want out of life, but you have to make a decision. Make an honest accountability. Go through the steps I gave you in this video. And guys, let me know in the comments, are you going to break free from the 9 to 5? Because that safety and like safe paycheck, it's going to kill you in the long run. I'm just telling you, I did it. I tried it. I hated it. And my job is to stop anyone who truly desires to make a change. You want to use wholesaling? I would love to help you out, guys. If you got value from this video, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button. Hit that subscribe notification button. This is Rick Gann, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.